Welcome to the Cup of Joe Wrestling Show.
Cup of Joe Wrestling Show?
With Joey Harris. A podcast for the wrestling fan on the go. So take your favorite beverage of choice and join Joey as he takes a look at some of the biggest shows on the WWE Network.
Welcome to the Cup of Joe Wrestling Show. I'm your host, Joey Harris, and we are broadcasting from makeshift studios in the shadow of South Central Virginia. Follow the show on Twitter and Blue Sky at Cup of Joe Pod. Email the show at cupofjoewrestlingshow@gmail.com. You can support the show at paypal.me/cupofjoepod. I am on Cash App and Venmo at The Joey Harris if you want to just give me a few bucks that way. And of course, patreon.com/babykangaroo media for bonus episodes of the Cup of Joe Wrestling Show, the Joey Harris Super Show, the Green Room, Book Club Baristas, and so much more. Just $5 a month for hours of extra content. And folks, in it right now, in the heart of my busy season. So we're just going to go at it and get through it. That's all you can expect, right? As today we take a look at King of the Ring 1995 from the WWF. King of the Ring 1995 took place June the 25th, 1995 on pay-per-view from the Core State Spectrum in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. There were 16,590 in attendance and the show did 150,000 buys. We get our intro. Stephanie Wyatt welcomes us and previews the last qualifying match. IRS with Ted DiBiase versus Savio Vega with Razor Ramon. IRS attacks Vega and gets a small package for a 2 count. Vega comes back with a roll-up for a 2 count. Vega with the early offense. Vega thrown out. IRS with a slam, but Vega gets his foot up on a splash attempt. Vega with a series of moves. IRS rolls out. Vega brings IRS in and hits a spin wheel kick to get the pin. Vince McMahon and Doc Hendricks welcome us to the King of the Ring as the pay-per-view proper starts. They run down what we're going to see tonight. First round. Yokozuna with Jim Cornette and Mr. Fuji versus Savio Vega with Razor Ramon. Todd Pettengill interviews Savio Vega. He's happy to be here and will try to win it all. Vega with a side headlock. Yoko with a shoulder block. He follows it up with a back elbow. Vega avoids an elbow drop. Back and forth. Vega misses the spin wheel kick. Yoko stomps Vega. He beats Vega down in the corner. Vega rolls away from a bonsai drop attempt. Yoko with a headbutt. Yoko with a nerve hold. Vega comes back. Yoko throws Vega over the top rope. Ramon helps Vega back in. They trade shots. Yoko with a scoop slam. Vega moves on the leg drop attempt. Vega with a series of clotheslines. Cornette gets up on the apron. Vega knocks him off. Ramon goes after Cornette only to get hit from behind by Owen Hart. Vega runs Yoko into a ring post and Yoko gets counted out. Vince and Doc talk to Jerry Lawler about the Kiss My Foot match. The Roadie with Jeff Jarrett versus Bob Holly. Holly with a quick slam. He follows it up with a series of moves for several 2 counts. Roadie comes back with a shot. Holly with a shoulder block. Back and forth. Holly keeps getting 2 counts. Roadie with a modified powerbomb. He follows it up with a kick and a corner whip and another whip. Roadie with elbow drops. Roadie with a rear chin lock. Holly gets back to his feet. Roadie with a clothesline. Roadie gets a 2 count. Holly with a backdrop out of a piledriver attempt. Holly with a flying head scissors. Holly with a drop kick. He hits a series of shots to Roadie. He gets a 2 count. Holly with a series of counts. Holly stops the superplex attempt, but Roadie gets his foot up on a splash attempt and pins Holly. Todd Pettengill talks to Shawn Michaels. We then get Shawn Michaels versus Kama with Ted DiBiase. The crowd gives Michaels an impressive reception. It takes a while to get started. They trade blows. They drive to the corner and trade more blows. Michaels with a side headlock. Kama throws Michaels out, but he skins the cat and hits Kama. Kama rolls out to regroup with DiBiase. Michaels gets a wrist lock on. Kama clotheslines Michaels to the outside. DiBiase attacks Michaels. Kama runs Michaels into a ring post. Kama throws Michaels in the ring. Kama with a corner whip. Kama is relentless. He works on Michaels' back. They trade blows. Kama puts Michaels on the top rope and beats him. Kama with an over-the-shoulder backbreaker. Michaels falls on Kama for a 2 count. Michaels is thrown to the outside. DiBiase kicks Michaels. Michaels gets in on the 9 count. Kama with a backbreaker. Michaels is trying to break the hold. Michaels moves on a corner charge. Michaels with a flying forearm and both men are down. Kama up, and he misses an elbow drop. Back and forth. Michaels with a flying clothesline. He gets a 2 count. Michaels with corner mounted punches. 1 minute left. Kama rolls through a crossbody for a 2 count. Michaels with a small package for a 2 count. Michaels with a sunset flip, but time expires and it's a draw. Both competitors are eliminated. Michaels gets attacked by Kama and hits sweet chin music. Todd Pettengill previews the next match, followed by Vince and Doc talking about it. Bob Backlund is shown on the campaign trail in Philadelphia. This went on way too long. Mable with Mo versus The Undertaker with Paul Bearer. Stephanie Wyatt interviews Mable on the way to the ring. He says he's got this and is going to be the next king. Undertaker gets a massive ovation when he comes out. He has Children of the Night at ringside. Undertaker attacks Mable right away. Undertaker with throat strikes. He hits a shoulder block and does old school. Undertaker chokes Mable in the corner. Mable with a sidewalk slam. Undertaker thrown out but lands on his feet. Mable pushes Undertaker, who gets his foot caught in the ropes. Mable with a belly-to-belly suplex. Mable with a camel clutch. Crowd gets behind Undertaker. Mable throws Undertaker out. Mable runs Undertaker into the ring steps. Mo attacks Undertaker. Mable with a corner whip. Mable with a suplex for a 2 count. Mable with a series of slams for more 2 counts. Undertaker gets his boot up on a charge. Undertaker with an Irish whip. Mable hits a pile driver for a 2 count. Double shoulder block and both men down. Mable misses an elbow drop when Undertaker moves. Undertaker attacks Mable. Mable reverses a corner whip, and referee Mike Chioda gets taken out. Undertaker with a flying choke slam. He then hits another choke slam. Undertaker hits Mo and covers, but Chioda is still out. Kama comes out and attacks Undertaker. Mable hits a leg drop on the Undertaker to get the pin. Mable and Mo leave. Kama slaps Undertaker, who gets up, and Kama takes off. Mable goes directly to the finals. WWF Hall of Fame presentation feature Pedro Morales, the Grand Wizard, Antonino Rocca, the Fabulous Moolah, George Steele, Ernie Ladd, and Ivan Putski are your inductees. King of the Ring semifinal, Savio Vega with Razor Ramon versus the Roadie with Jeff Jarrett. Todd Pettengill talks to Jarrett and the Roadie. Jarrett says Roadie is going to be king. The bell rings and Roadie stalls. They lock up and drive to the corner. Vega clotheslines Roadie out, and Roadie hits his head. Jarrett checks on Roadie. Back in, Vega with a wrist lock. Into an armbar. Vega in control. Roadie comes back with a neck breaker and gets a 2 count. Roadie chokes Vega with his foot. Roadie chops Vega. He beats Vega down in the corner. He hits a second rope headbutt for a 2 count. Roadie working on Vega's back. Back and forth. Roadie with a corner whip. He misses a headbutt. Vega comes back with an elbow and a slam for a 2 count. He gets a series of 2 counts. Jarrett gets up on the apron. Vega with a high knee that runs Roadie into Jarrett, and Vega with a roll up to get the pin. Carlos Cabrera interviews Vega in Spanish, and Doc tries to translate. Bret Hart talks about his match coming up with Jerry Lawler. Stephanie talks to Lawler. He says Bret will kiss his foot. We get the Kiss My Foot match, Jerry Lawler versus Bret Hart. Lawler out first. He puts down Hart and the crowd. Hart with a tremendous ovation. He does his glasses presentation, the bell rings, and Hart unloads on Lawler. Lawler goes outside and Hart follows. He runs Lawler into the barricade. Hart continues the assault in the ring. He goes back outside, and Lawler runs Hart into the ring steps. The fans chant Burger King to Lawler. Lawler runs Hart into the barricade. He gets Hart in and runs him into a turnbuckle. Lawler hits a pile driver. He then hits another one. He then taunts the fan and hits a third pile driver. Hart kicks out at 2. Lawler runs Bret into a turnbuckle. Hart comes back with shots. Lawler undoes his boot and hits Hart with it. He gets a 2 count. Lawler chokes Hart. Hart grabs the foot. He hits a headbutt. Hart with a series of elbows. Lawler runs his boot into Hart's head. Lawler goes to post Hart in the corner, but Hart runs Lawler's head into it instead. Hakushi and Shinja come down. Lawler grabs Hart for Hakushi to hit, but Hart ducks, and Lawler gets hit instead. Hart with a Russian leg sweep and a backbreaker. He hits an elbow drop and puts the sharpshooter on, and Lawler eventually gives up. Hart takes his boot off. Hakushi and Shinja come back. Hart ducks and Lawler gets hit again. Hart gets rid of Hakushi. Hart makes Lawler kiss his foot and then makes Lawler kiss his own foot. The crowd loves it. We get a feature on WWF's participation in the Special Olympics World Games. Flashback on the last 2 King coronations and then the King of the Ring finals. Mable with Mo versus Savio Vega with Razor Ramon. The crowd seems worn out. It takes a while to get started. They lock up and Mable pushes Vega off. Vega moves on a corner charge and chops Mable. Back and forth. They trade shots. Mable misses an elbow drop. Vega clotheslines Mable out. Mable then pulls Vega out. Vega runs Mable into the ring steps. Vega then ran into the steps. Ramon rolls Vega back in. Mable with a corner whip. Mable with a bear hug. Vega's hand doesn't go down 3 times. He gets out. And Mable rakes his face. Mable goes back to the bear hug. Back and forth. Mable with a sidewalk slam. He puts on a rear chin lock. Vega comes back. Mable with a series of corner splashes. He misses a corner charge, and Vega gets a roll up for a 2 count. Vega with a comeback. Mable with a big slam and then a splash to get the pin. Ramon comes in to help Vega. He gets attacked by Mo and Mable. Mable drops an elbow on Ramon. The 1-2-3 kid comes in and also gets attacked. They have Mable's coronation. Mo puts the robe on Mable and presents the sword to Mable. Mo reads the proclamation. The crowd boos. They put the crown on Mable. Referees are keeping Vega, Ramon, and the kid back from attacking Mable and Mo. They show Jerry Lawler being sick in the back. Stephanie talks to Sid, Tatanka, and Ted DiBiase. Sid talks about injuring Diesel's elbow at In Your House. Tatanka then calls out Bigelow. Todd talks to Diesel and Bam Bam Bigelow. Diesel said his elbow is 100%, but he's still better than Sid. Bigelow says he and Diesel are confident they will win. Main event, Diesel and Bam Bam Bigelow versus Sid and Tatanka with Ted DiBiase. Bigelow comes out and gets a good reaction. Diesel out to a great ovation. His elbow is braced and padded. They start to brawl right away. Heels out to regroup. Diesel and Tatanka start. They circle each other. Diesel with a short arm clothesline. Sid attacks the elbow while the referee is distracted. Tatanka attacks the elbow. He gets a wrist lock on as a Diesel chant goes out. Sid tagged in and continues the attack on the arm. He wraps it around the ropes and hits it. Diesel slammed on the canvas. Sid misses a leg drop. Bigelow tagged in and cleans house. He drop kicks Tatanka out and DDTs Sid. He hits Sid with a flying headbutt, but DiBiase distracts the referee, so Bigelow only gets a 2 count. Bigelow goes up top, but gets caught and choke slammed off by Sid. Tatanka tagged in and got a 2 count. Tatanka pounds Bigelow down in the corner. He keeps up the assault on Bigelow. He stomps Bigelow. Sid tagged in. He hits a running kick. He repeatedly kicks Bigelow. Bigelow comes back, but gets thrown to the outside. Tatanka attacks Bigelow on the outside. Back in, Sid gets a rear chinlock on. All 4 men in. Diesel hits Sid with a corner whip and clothesline. He hits an elbow drop, but hurts his arm. Bigelow and Tatanka back in. Tatanka with a body press for a 2 count. Tatanka with a rear chinlock. Bigelow comes back. Tatanka with a jumping DDT for a 2 count. Tatanka kicks Bigelow down. Bigelow comes back. Double clothesline and Bigelow gets a 2 count. Bigelow with a cannonball and an enziguri. Diesel tagged in. He hits a side slam and a big boot. He hits the jackknife but pulls Tatanka up on the count. He calls out Sid. Sid starts to leave. He walks down the aisle as Diesel pins Tatanka to win. Diesel and Bigelow celebrate as they sign off from Philadelphia. Final thoughts. A lackluster show. The tournament was a cluster and the main event and the Hart Lawler matches weren't hitting for me. You can follow me on Facebook, Threads, and Instagram at TheJoeyHarris. If you like the show, please leave a review on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, or your preferred podcast app. I would really appreciate it. We can also be found on Spotify and YouTube. Just search for The Cup of Joe Wrestling Show and don't forget to hit subscribe. Thank you for joining me this week. This is Joey saying so long from the heart of Virginia.
The Cup of Joe Wrestling Show is a production of Baby Kangaroo Media.